यप्रव्रजन्तमनपेत अपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रीति तन्मयतया तर्वो विनेदुस् तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। तस्मादहं विगतविक्लव ईश्वरस्य सर्वात्मना महि गृणामि यथा मनीषं नीचो जयो गुणविसर्ग अनुप्रविष्ट भूयेत हि पुमान् अनुवर्णितेन। Hare Krishna. So, welcome all of you for continuation of our. Here, repeating sound is coming. So, what I should do yesterday? Audio setting. Hare Krishna. I think that's fine. Hare Bol. Yeah. Yes. So, before continuing, maybe if any one or two of you want to share anything what we discussed yesterday from Prabhupada or any other commentaries from previous acharyas, anyone wants to say any statements? Raising hand. Yeah. Huh? Yes, yes. Yeah. Especially we were discussing about Vitarasura's prayer that I don't want this, I don't want this. Prabhupada was saying that I don't want to be anything of this world. That's the mood of Trinadapi verse according to Srila Prabhupada. I don't want to be anything. You praise me, you criticize me, you spit on me. I have nothing. Let me tolerate because I don't want anything of this world. And what to speak of the aspirations of what Rupa Goswami is telling us. He is talking about Golok Vrindavan. So thank you. What should be the mood of prayer? That is the learning from the chapter 4, which appears to be the set of verses. But these are the hearts of pure devotees depicted by Rupa Goswami. Yes, anything else? Anyone? Yes, Prabhu. Anyone online also, if someone can say, then I will be very grateful because I am not able to serve you in any way. So I don't know what is happening. Yes.
So Guruji, yesterday's the constant theme was like how liberation, mukti is insignificant.
Yes.
And then we saw Premottama Bhakta and one more terminology you discussed. So Premotta thoda sa pehle hote hain mujhe wo.
Yeah. Technically it is Sukha Aishwarya Uttara.
Sukha Aishwarya
This is those who predominantly desire Sukha and Aishwarya. And Prema Sevottara, those who predominantly desires Prem Seva.
Yes. And then we discussed how Prema that is the highest, all those stuff.
Yeah. So Rupa Goswami is telling the unalloyedness of the purity of the devotion. Even the muktis also have some kind of mixture. Ati viruddhyate, na ati viruddhyate. It is not so much against, but there is something against. So, but Govinda Ritamanasa means nothing against. No tinge of anything for oneself like that. So that's what we saw, and the gopis were glorified. So the purity of the desire of the Vrajvasis or gopis. So actually this purity is just a side point, but very important. Yesterday I wanted to mention, I was thinking about it. We heard Vitarasura's one prayer yesterday, right? I don't want this, I don't want this. But more important than that prayer, see why we are discussing, because it is Chatushloki. Bhagavatam is also said there are 4 shlokas here also. May not be Gaudiya Vaishnava Acharya, but it is said. So, which is the verse which is showing his purity of his desire of Vitarasur? Which is that verse? This verse is showing purity, surely, no doubt about it. But more deeper purity is told in another verse. Yes, same. That. Yes. Ajata paksha, eva mataram khaga. You can project. Ajata paksha, eva mataram khaga. Stanyam yatha vatsatara kshudharta. Priyam priyeva vishatam vishanna mano aravindakshaddidukshati tvam. So what it is telling? Yes, what is the meaning? Don't go to the meaning. What is the meaning of this? See, we are trying to understand the purity of his desire. So this verse is quoted by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, telling that this should be the consciousness while chanting Hare Krishna. I don't know which book, I think it is mentioned in some book. Because of the purity of the desire. That is the key thing. So what is purity here? See what first he is telling? That I don't want, means first he is telling that just like a, first analogy is what? Just like a bird, very baby bird is looking for food from mother. Then he is giving another analogy of calf waiting for mother who is hungry. Calf is hungry. Third is the lover and waiting for beloved. So where is the purity here? Or how it is showing purity? Some of you might have heard before. And share if you have heard anything. Yes, complete dependence you said. Yes, bro. Yes, yes,
Food is within the mother, but still he is asking, not serving. He is asking. And the last one is he wants to serve. Priyam Priya Ashutam.
yeah. She doesn't want anything for herself. The third analogy. So Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives what is going on in the mind of Uttara. He says that he has feeling separation and desire to serve, which he expressed in the first verse. No? First verse is that Das, I want to become servant of servant. What is that verse? Aham tave padayaka moolam dasanudaso bhavitasmi bhuya, etc. So this is the culmination of his emotion here. So what he is telling, I want to be fully dependent on you, my Lord, just like a baby bird is crying for the food. But he thinks in mind, wait a minute, this baby bird is just looking for something outside of that mother. So she has to get it from outside and give him. And baby bird, so he said, no, I don't want anything from you. I want dependence of the bird, but I don't want anything from you. So he said, no, this not, I don't. Maybe I want to be like a calf who is hungry and he cannot live further without his mother. So now these analogies, you have to see the cows and calves when they come, like, well, I got to see something. Because these analogies doesn't make much sense otherwise. Like Radhagovind Maharaj says that actually to understand Bhagavatam, you have to go to village. Because you cannot grasp the whole, because it's all about the exchange of rasa and emotion is there. So it's very difficult to grasp. So actually calf will be waiting, like it runs actually. And the mother also starts making sound before only. So there is a great communication which happens between them. But Vitarasur thinking, okay, wait a minute. This is nice analogy, but after calf becomes, then he doesn't need milk at all. बड़ा हो जाता है तो हो जाता है, मदर को इतना ये नहीं रहता है, वो भी मदर हो जाता है बाद में, समझो खाऊ है तो. She said, no, not this analogy. Then priyam priyeva vishtam vishanna. So the lover is waiting for the beloved to come, and she is cooking, she is dressing herself nicely just to please the beloved. She doesn't want anything from him. This is the mood I want. That's how his emotions are getting refined and purer. and taking all the dependence and the intensity and purity. That's how these three analogies are. He's bringing in and rejecting. And then he is ending up with this, and then Mano Arvindaksha Didrikshatetam. I want to see you, my Lord, like this, like that lover. No? So that is the purity of his desire. That's why all our acharyas are telling that this is the purity of his desire, actually. So sixth canto is telling this pure devotional service in this particular verse very clearly. Because sixth canto, all throughout you can see the difference between mixed devotion and pure devotion. So like that. So that is the purity of Vitrasura's intention. And the next verse is even more amazing. He feels, wait a minute, what I have desired, my Lord, this is Madhurya Ras, this is too much. I am in Dasya Ras. That is the next verse. What he says, next verse? Mama Uttama Shloka. No, not that. How is that? Mama Uttama Shloka Janeshu Saksham Samsara Chakre Brahmata Swakarma Bhi Tvanmaya Atmajadara Geheshu Asakta Chittasya Nanatha Bhuya. So great dainya has awakened in his heart, feeling that, Arey, what I have said, this is Madhurya Ras thing I am asking, I am not at all qualified for that. I am struggling with my own karma only. So I am attached. Please let my attachment go and let my attachment become the devotees, like Uttama Shlok Jana, means those devotees who are men of the Lord. Let me have friendship with them. Because I am in karma bandhan because of my own karma. So let me give up this attachment to so many things. So that is his dainya coming out. So these are all pure emotions coming. So purity of desire, right? So saying no is one level of purity. This is another depth of purity which is exhibited by Vitrasura here. So that's what especially, so a little bit diverted from the main topic, but it was in line. Yes, online, any one devotee wants to say one statement? Yeah. Okay, already type. You want to read?
Venugopal Pro is writing that any person born as human, and if he has pure faith in Lord, he can practice pure devotional service.
Yeah. So he is exhibiting the adhikar. Yeah.
Also, Bhakti itself is atonement, is writing.
Yes.
And initiation is not an event, it is a process.
Yes, that's what Prabhupada says in NY. It's a process of surrender. It is not event of getting mala or name, but it is process of surrender. Right? Beginning happens in heart and maybe externally in form of an event. Yes, so we'll continue our discussion. So yesterday, 5th chapter, we reached first 2 verses we covered. No, it is not visible. Some setting has to be done. Okay. So this chapter began with telling that how Nirmatra Adhikar is there. Right? So Prabhupada very emphatically glorified his spiritual master and he followed his footsteps, and that's how the movement has grown all over the world. But the so-called Brahmana, so-called cultured people cannot understand this fact because they are not able to understand Vaishnava scriptures. Because this is a secret of Vaishnava scripture, right? That word is used there, right? Yeah, rahasyam tad vidam matam iti Vaishnava shastranam rahasyam. So that Nirmatra Adhikari, he can give up his Swadharma, but he must practice the angas of bhakti. Otherwise, that will be dosh. And even if he commits sin, there is no need of any atonement. And that sin also, that desire won't come in the person who has developed pure faith. But even if it comes accidentally, daivat, still he doesn't have to do atonement. And that happens because of previous aparat, that is Vishwanath clarified that. Right? So going further, that Now, having said that, about speaking about adhikar, right? So much is speaking about adhikar till now. The next verse is also that only, which is a very striking verse coming in here. I was also very astonished why this verse is coming here after speaking so much about adhikar. Why he is putting this verse here? So this is the verse from 11th canto. Actually, and yesterday I heard some part of lecture of His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrit Swami Maharaj, which he gave in Hindi in Vrindavan. So I was very delighted to see that he was reciting these verses in the class. He was also referring the verses and reciting, making the devotees recite and explaining the words. So it's good that we are going in same line. The verse usage. He has been using the verses of original Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu and making the devotees recite. And of course, that course is very elaborate, 27 lectures and 2.5 hours each. So that's why we don't have that much time. So we will not recite. But स्वे स्वे अधिकारे या निष्ठा सगुण परिकीर्तितः विपर्यस्तुत दोषः स्यादुभयोर एव निश्चयः. So now Srila Prabhupada, because he is writing summary, so he is giving the whole message together, right? So first let us read what Prabhupada has given. Yeah, please read the first paragraph.
Practically, there are three processes for elevating one to the platform of spiritual consciousness. These processes are called karma, jnana, and bhakti. Ritualistic performances are in the field of karma, speculative processes are in the field of jnana. One who has taken to bhakti, the devotional service of the Lord, need have nothing to do with karma or jnana. It has been already explained that pure devotional service is without any tinge of karma or jnana. Bhakti should have no tinge of philosophical speculation or ritualistic performances.
Yeah, so in this first paragraph, Prabhupada is speaking about these three processes. Why suddenly this thing has come now here? Already earlier so many definitions have happened. Ye sab nahi chahiye. Why this verse is coming and why this jnana and karma is coming again? Don't you feel this has been told before also so many times? Why it has come again here? What is the reason? So that, yes, bro? Accommodate, no, not to accommodate actually. We'll come to that, why it is. So read the translation which Prabhupada has done of this verse. Very unique translation. He is giving pure devotion only. Yeah. In this connection. Yeah. Translation you can read directly also. See, this verse is spoken. I will tell you the context which Prabhupada has written. Uddhava is asking question about, please tell me, my dear Lord, what is good and what is bad in this world? How to recognize that? Because so many places it is spoken about, this is guna, this is dosha. How to understand what is guna, what is dosha? You speak. So Lord tells, actually initially Lord tells, see, you should never see good and bad among devotees. To see good and bad among devotees is a bad quality. And to see good and not to see good and bad in devotees is a good quality. So Uddhava is little bewildered. Fully he wants to understand for all of us. Of course, he is not bewildered. Because we are bewildered, Krishna is making him bewildered. So he is asking that how I can understand. So in answer to that, Krishna is giving this verse. So just to clear the context, maybe you can read, you can open that Sve Adhikare 11.21.1. You can open there. This is 2. 1 is telling before, na? Before this verse. Bhagavan Uvacha. So why I am saying, because you see the unique translation of Prabhupada. 11.21.1. Yeah, read the translation.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who give up these methods for achieving me, which consist of devotional service, analytical philosophy, and regulated execution of prescribed duties, and instead, being moved by the material senses, cultivate insignificant sense gratification, certainly undergo the continual cycle of material existence.
Yeah. So what Lord is speaking here is, previous chapter Lord has spoken about these three processes: karma, jnana, bhakti. He is saying that these are three processes I have created for these kind of people. Karma is for atisakto, jnana is for nirvinno, bhakti is for na nirvinno, na atisakto. Now what he is telling, anyone who is doing anything apart from this will remain in this world. He will never come out of the cycle of birth and death. Okay? That's why see Prabhupada is telling, you understand now what is the previous paragraph of Prabhupada is speaking this context. Then now you go to the next one. Next verse is this verse. Sve sve adhikare anishtha saguna parikirtitaha. Yeah, read the translation.
Steadiness in one's own position is declared to be actual piety, whereas deviation from one's position is considered impiety. In this way, the two are definitely ascertained.
Yeah, of course, this is Prabhupada or Prabhupada disciples translation, but we can say that this is the translation. Now you read the translation here. Then we will go to the verse. See, same verse. Now Prabhupada is telling in this context.
In this connection, Srila Rupa Goswami gives evidence from Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 21st chapter, verse 2, in which Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, the distinction between qualification and disqualification may be made in this way. Persons who are already elevated in discharging devotional service will never again take shelter of processes of fruitive activity or philosophical speculation. If one sticks to devotional service and is conducted by regulative principles given by the authorities and acharyas, that is the best qualification.
Yeah. So it's quite different, right? Completely different. So why Prabhupada is writing this? What is the purpose? So purpose is, let us go to understand. See, Prabhupada only spoke about qualification. Here, if you see the translation, अधिकार क्या है वो बताया, और पहले क्या है, what he said, that already elevated लोगों को तो कुछ प्रॉब्लम ही नहीं है, उनको क्या इशू है? No, they will just continue. They don't mix karma, jnana in their practice. But what is the second line saying? If one sticks to devotional service, conducted by regulative principles given by the authorities and acharyas, that is the qualification. So that is for practitioners, not very elevated. So he is saying that is the qualification. But what is the disqualification? Prabhupada didn't say. Although he said distinction is made, but that part is not being told explicitly here. So why it is being told? Let us first understand the verse. So what verse is telling? Svesve adhikare yanishtha. Svesve means according to people. Adhikar is their qualification. That is based on their fixity, nishtha, in a particular faith what they have. And to do that is guna, it's proper, is qualification. For example, someone who is too attached, for him karma is guna for him, because he is not qualified for bhakti. Someone who is too detached, for him to do jnana is a guna. But if his qualification is nirvinna, but if he is doing some other process, is dosha. So, sa guna pare, or those who have qualification of bhakti, then they should practice bhakti, and that is guna. If they mix something, that is dosha. That's the point being made here. Viparyayas tuta dosha. Viparyaya means your faith is different and your qualification is different. Okay. Then it is to do someone else's duty. See, this verse comes twice in Bhagavatam, in the same previous chapter also, here also. Similar verse comes in Bhagavad Gita twice. Doing others' duty. You have heard that? 2 times it comes in Bhagavad Gita. Apart from man mana bhava mat bhakto, this verse also comes twice. So what is that verse? That doing others' duty is sinful, something like that. Huh? Bhayavaha, yeah, paradharma bhaya. Shreyan swadharmo vigunaha, paradharma bhayavaha. So two times it comes. So point is same thing is being spoken here. So when you do something which is of other qualification, that is fault. You have to do what you are qualified for. So for bhakti, now Prabhupada, this whole thing he is boiling down only to qualification only for bhakta. Although the principle applies for everyone. So what he is telling that one who has developed a pure devotional faith should stick to regulative principles given by the authorities and acharyas. If he sticks in that, then he will progress. But if he mixes karma and jnana in it, then it will be dosha. Means what? He will not get his fruits, what he desires, and he will not get result of bhakti also. So this is told by Srila Jiva Goswami, and the same point was told by in class by yesterday Gudagesh Prabhu. If you remember, he said that if we don't develop full faith on the glory of bhakti in our chitta, then what naturally happens? What he said? Naturally we will fall to one platform, he said. What was that? And then we end up in doing this. What will happen? Yes? Yeah, you are quite close. But exactly? स्वर्ग में कब जाएंगे? यस, करेक्ट. तब स्वर्ग में, वो तो अंतिम ये बताया हमने. लेकिन ये क्यों हो रहा है? Yeah, so basically karma, you will fall to karma adhikar, and then mixture will be practiced. And then you will end up in disrespect to the devotees. So this is the thing which happens naturally. This is given by Jiva Goswami. So I'll just read, maybe you can, this you have, na? This in the sense that you had opened. Yeah, I'll just read the commentary on this verse by Jiva Goswami, same verse. So he says, I'll just please hear attentively this. See, for the persons qualified for pure bhakti, performance of actions of karma and jnana is fault, and failure to perform bhakti is fault. So this we discussed. No mixture and failure to perform the bhakti angas. Either he should do. Those qualified for jnana and karma means they are not fully qualified for bhakti. Shuddha, what is that? Pure faith has not fully awakened. Are the persons without such faith in bhakti, though they may begin practicing pure bhakti by devotee association, they quickly show disrespect. As a result, they fail to attain their goals. In that sense, they become full of fault by giving up that for which they are qualified, namely jnana and karma. So when basically what is told is that please introspect faith and act accordingly. Otherwise, you will experience desires will not be fulfilled, and there will be disrespect, which is beginning of offense. So when we say here that though they may begin practicing pure bhakti by devotee association, so one can practice activities of bhakti. But what is being spoken here is about faith. What is the faith? So when one has that faith, then one can be conducted by regulative principles coming from gurus. That is the best qualification. But if we are unable to do that, then we are bringing in mixture. Mixture means our aspiration. And we practice that, our aspiration won't be it will be failure, and disrespect will happen because value system is wrong. So that's the point being told here. And if you see Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary on this verse, he gives more detailed, which is given by the, you can read this now. This is same Bhagavatam purport I am showing of the same verse, okay? Given by Prabhupada disciples from Acharya's commentaries, beautifully. And where it is? Whatever. Krishna Kirtan Prabhu is somehow tolerated. देखने दो ना, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं, मेरे को इधर मिल नहीं रहा है, मेरा स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रहा है. Why I am not able to see the screen? ये वाला स्क्रीन शेयर करो तो फिर क्या हो रहा है ऐसा? नहीं, ये वाला स्क्रीन नहीं दिख रहा है. अब भी आया. Yeah, please read. So this is 11.21.2 purport by Srila Prabhupada's disciples. Yeah, please read. It is some part of purport we are reading, not full purport. In chapter 19, verse 45.
In chapter 19, verse 45, Lord Krishna states, Guna dosha drushi dosho guna tubhyas varijita.
Varjita.
Varijita. One should not see the material good and evil within a devotee of the Lord. Indeed, one becomes pious by giving up such mundane conceptions. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur points out that occasionally a neophyte devotee may be polluted by association with those enthusiastically executing fruitive activities and mental speculation. Such devotees' religious activities may be affected by mundane tendencies.
See this first case, what is saying? One devotee means Kanishta Adhikari, he has developed pure faith, but he has an association of very enthusiastic karmis and gyanis. So what happens? Because Kanishta is proud Shraddha, nahi, Komal Shraddha, he gets affected by enthusiastic association of karmis and gyanis and their faith. What happens? His devotional activities get affected by the tendencies. Mixture has come in. This is first case. Second case now.
Similarly, an ordinary person who observes the exalted status of pure devotees sometimes externally imitate the devotee's activities, considering himself to be on the same exalted platform of a pure devotional service.
So you understand, this is another person who is outside fellow, he doesn't have any faith on pure devotion. But what is he attracted to? What is attracted to? External exalted status of a pure devotee. How much fame he is getting, how much followers are there, how much facilities. You understand, externals of a devotee. So what he does, मेरे को भी इसको जो what he has I also want. So what he says, I will also start practicing what he does. You're getting the point what is being said here? It's very important. So sometimes externally imitates the devotee's activities, considering himself to be on same exalted pair. अरे हम भी करते हैं, like that. हम भी ये सब करते हैं. And he thinks that he is platform of pure devotional service. So now you read ahead. These imperfect practitioners
of Bhakti Yoga are not exempt from criticism, since their fruitive activities, mental speculation and false prestige are material intrusion in the pure devotional service of the Lord.
So this is dosha and this has to be seen. That is what is Krishna is telling. Because there is a mixture and you can see mixture properly. That's why we say it takes one to know one. No? Because it is not so external, quite internal. What is faith? So many people are having tilak, dhoti, kurta, so many people are doing so many things. But where is one's faith will be known by who has faith only. It's impossible to understand. That's why such important thing is being spoken here. That identify your adhikar. And if one has good association of pure devotees, then try to eliminate those mixtures and come to standard of pure devotion. If you don't do that, other thing is what going to happen? What is the other path? If we maintain them, mixtures, what is going to happen? Disrespect. Yeah, it is dosha. Yeah. What do you say? Yeah, that we are not talking how we'll see. We are talking about the person only now, currently, practitioner, ourselves. So, if we don't work upon the mixtures, then what will happen? We will fall to mixture practice and we will disrespect devotees. Because of our vision is improper. And disrespect begins with negativity and ends in ninda. After that, everything is more dangerous. So, 4 stages are that negativity, then you want to avoid the person, that is quite first, and then you don't want to, you develop some hatred for the person, and then you start speaking ill of it. So, it has come to words. First, there is thought level, then it becomes words, and after words, it will become action. So, crack is there, identify it, correct it. Otherwise, it will increase and many other cracks will happen. Then wherever, how many ever cracks you are seeing, try to improve that. Because it will come to the word, it will come to the words, and words will become actions. And then we say accident. Where is the accident? There is no accident actually. In one sense, if you see. Because it's a very scientific process. So disrespect comes. The value system will be different. So disrespect means finished. There is no question of like what nirmat saranam satam. There won't be any like offense. What it does? What is the most dangerous thing offense does? Yes. Yeah, uproot that happens after long time. Covered, yeah, but what is immediate effect which if one is introspective he'll understand? Yes, the activities of devotional service become very difficult. That is because it's very internal sign, very internal sign. So hearing, chanting, associating with devotees, sincere devotees like that. So that taste and some other taste will come. Because taste buds, we are dealing with taste buds. Your tastes will be the fruits of the action. You understand taste? एक बार वो taste bud वो बन गया, the original taste very difficult to get back. The focus is on karma, jnana mixtures and their fruits. Relief or enjoyment. Enjoying the fruits or relief from engagement, something like that, whatever. So that is what is being spoken. Now you see beautifully they write ahead. A pure devotee. Yeah, read this.
A pure devotee engaged exclusively in the Lord's service should not be criticized, but a devotee whose devotional service is mixed with the material qualities may be corrected so that he can rise to the platform of pure devotional service. Innocent person should not be misled by the mixed devotional service of those who not engage exclusively in the Bhakti Yoga system, but those unable to fully engage in Krishna consciousness should nevertheless not give up their regular prescribed duties, declaring them to be illusion.
Yeah, so this is another side they are speaking. If you are not qualified for pure devotion, don't give up your swadharma. Don't consider that it illusion. Don't get attracted externally to devotional service or bhakta, but develop pure faith and then you give up dharma, no problem. Without developing faith, don't give up dharma. That's what is told, na? Thinking that is to be illusion. See this statement? But though, so this
But those,
yeah, you read already, I am just showing. And here another thing is told here, that a devotee whose devotional service is mixed may be corrected so that he can rise to the platform of devotional service. So this is the thankless task our guides are doing for us. So we have to understand this, that if someone is helping us to come to the pure faith, it's our fortune. But if we stick to this is what I want, this is how I will do, then it's a mixture. The person, he will not be happy, he will not experience of bhakti, neither the superior may try to tell something. That's what is being told here, right? It's a very thankless task which spiritual master does actually, to give a correction to someone. What to speak of giving a correction to a brahmachari? It's a more difficult thing to do in this creation. Very, very difficult. That's why Swadhyaya is very important for brahmachari. At least there you get corrections without anything. And you can, to accept from others, genuinely takes receptivity and sincerity. That is very difficult. They are convinced, I am correct, I am right. I am telling about my own example. I was doing so many, I was convinced I am right. Very difficult to understand. So it is quite difficult. So that's why either introspect the level of faith and go ahead wherever you are. If you don't go ahead, then only option is disrespect and offense and frustration, nothing else. This is the Siddhant told in this verse. That's why this verse is coming at this particular conjuncture. Just before telling all the 64 limbs, he's telling this verse. And now, next verse, I don't think we have completed this purport. Yeah, you can read it further also, very nice. Last 4-5 lines are there. Yeah, for example,
one unable to fully engage in pure Krishna consciousness should not give up his family, considering it an illusion, for by doing so, he will fall into illicit sex life.
so
Material
heavy
pi-
statement. Yeah. Say heavy, isn't it?
Hmm.
They are saying that
Very heavy.
if one joins, if just gives up dharma and joins renunciation, but if he is not having that faith, then he will fall to illicit sex. Such heavy statement. I was shocked to read this statement. Yeah, read ahead.
Material piety and analytical knowledge of the material world must therefore be cultivated until one comes to the stage of directly practicing Krishna consciousness.
This is also means what? Karma and jnana. So you come to the platform of proper faith and then begin practicing. So it's very important. Sometimes in our guidance also, I am saying just like that. Some devotees may inspire people to join. अरे आ जाओ सब हो जाएगा. अरे क्या हो जाएगा? दिया है इधर, क्या हो जाएगा? आओ, सही इच्छा से आओ. सही इच्छा जानना सबसे मुश्किल बात है. वो खुद को ही पता नहीं, काउंसलर तो जान ही नहीं सकता. Unless there is a good relationship and shastric relationship, it's very difficult to understand what is the aspiration. And now ISKCON is so to say, what do you say, a light in its facilities. Earlier case it was not the case. Joiners like, for example, Sundarsham Prabhu and all the batch. No, for what purpose they joined? Such a simple living, such simple prasadam, everything simple. Only one thing they joined for purpose of practicing and spreading Krishna consciousness more. But now, with the desire of acharyas only, ISKCON has become more easier for practice because facilities and all have come, right? Kunjaveri temple, I remember, it's very simple facility. Like this hall, 2 halls, this bamboo house, 50 of us would stay. 50. Very nicely. Without any much issues. 50 people. And it was wooden floor, wooden. First person gets up. You understand? Wood में ठक बज गया मतलब गौर प्रेमानंद ने बाकी लोगों का. तो ऐसा फैसिलिटी था तब भी. So why person joins, or why we have joined, or why we are asking people to join, it's a very important thing to be thought, identified and addressed. Because nowadays people, especially youth, are going simply by relief and mental platform. At one point of time they will say, प्रभु जी यही चाहिए मुझे, बाकी कुछ नहीं चाहिए. एकदम कन्विक्शन से बोलेंगे. लेकिन कुछ 1-2 साल बाद कुछ दूसरा बोलेंगे. And you will wonder, what is this? So why it is there? Because it's mental platform. It's not Shastriya Shraddha at all. It's completely based on relief. That's why faith is the most difficult thing to know. But we have to first introspect our faith. Then we should, those whom we are serving, then we should try to increase that. And not ask them to do like this, which is told here. So that is very essential aspect. So telling one more thing so that it is not miscommunicating what I am trying to say. I am not saying that you should have a pure heart of a person to join brahmachari ashram or any. Pure heart is not necessary. Pure faith is necessary for practice of pure devotional service. What to speak of externally living in the under direction of Guru in a brahmachari ashram. So that is even more what duties increase actually here, according to. So that's why we should be careful. So not that pure heart, but pure faith is required. Pure faith is required. So that's why we should connect people to Prabhupada's books, not to us, because we will give only anarthas. What we have, we give. That's all. And some faith surely will give. I am not saying that, but we will give what we have. So let us understand what Prabhupada is saying. That is pure. Give them pure things. Become a conduct of pure message. ये लो बाबा, ये इन्होंने बताया, मैं बोल रहा हूँ बस. Otherwise, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, if you take instruction from a mixed devotee, it will take many lifetimes to attain prema. He says that. Lifetimes, he says. Because he boils down to the same point actually. He says that because of taking instruction from a mixed person, he is unable to respect pure devotees. So he is barred to receive their mercy. So the whole problem comes is disrespect. So even pure devotees are there, and here we are so fortunate by Radhesham Prabhu's grace, so many great souls keep on coming here. But how much we take benefit of their association? Where is our faith? So we have to see that. So it's very important that know our adhikar and progress in our adhikar of faith and help everyone to do that by getting in touch with pure things. This is what is being kind of said here. So that's what is the point here, Prabhu. Samit Prabhu is wanting to say something from. हाँ है ना Prabhu?
Apuji, that last line of this purport, थोड़ा सा वो मुझे like it is written कि one should practice this jnana and karma until unless pure faith arises. It's because generally कोई भी क्यों ना हो, मतलब काम वाला भी क्यों ना हो या फिर कोई कितना भी materialistic क्यों ना हो, we start from bhakti only pure. He may not be practicing the pure bhakti, mixed bhakti, whatever, but bhakti started. Jnana karma we don't give only. So if it
How
is
to
said
understand
like
this last line?
this last line.
Yes, actually, that's why we have to see the whole context, what is being spoken here. Then it becomes clear. Whole context of this chapter, this is being spoken. Context of chapter is Krishna is telling, I created these three processes. So if you just follow these processes, you will attain liberation. If you don't follow any of this process, you will remain here. These are Krishna's methods. Having mixture is not a problem. What you do with the mixture is a problem. So the context is that what is spoken in Bhagavad Gita, you practice according to adhikar, right? So karma yoga adhikar, then you go to jnana, and then you come to bhakti. That kind of, this is a gradual, slow progress, Krishna designed thing which happens towards by elongated process over lifetimes. That's what is told here. That go by that method. But when it comes to bhakti, when that person meets a devotee, then whole siddhanta different. So is it clear? It's contextual statement here, what they are saying. So that's why it's all mixed in this. The lines are for different things. Earlier lines are for devotees. So this is all from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary.
I don't know, maybe it may come later because we hear this another shloka that Tektva Swadharmam.
That is in the next sloka. Wonderful, very nice thought process.
because-
That's what Group Goswami is thinking, that when it can be done. When you can taktva sadharmam, before that only he is saying this verse. So taktva sadharman is next verse. Taktva sadharmam charanam bhujam hare bhajan apakko athapate tato yadi. So that apakvata means what? That apakvata is in strength of his pure faith. It is not the mixture. It is not the mixed faith. Sentimental, Prabhupada says, "Na, someone sentimentally also joins the movement, there is no loss," like that. So that is one thing, and I think Prabhupada says there that because Prabhupada is writing this purport in the West, where he himself is doing this movement expansion and everything. So even if see, problem comes when he gives up his full duty to come to bhakti. Mishra Bhakta is practicing Mishra Bhakti along with his everything is not an issue. Gives up everything and then practices Bhakti. That is called pure faith. Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudruda Nishchay Krishna Bhakti Koile Sabra Karma Kruta Hai. So Prabhupada told you, give up everything, come here. So they gave up and came. So this verse applies to that kind of category of people who have that developed that faith. Although the strength of faith may not be like Uttama or Madhyama, but it is Kanishtha, and that is also glorious. Kanishtha is also very glorious qualification because he has developed pure faith. Oh, when Prabhupada said, "Arey, you give up your business, join he told Grihastha devotees." Can you imagine? So that kind of, he had that strength of faith, and that much faith they had on him, so they could do it, and they sustained in that. So that is, next verse is coming that only actually, so it doesn't apply to that. So we'll come to that verse. Yes, Prabhu.
I have two questions. First, in connection to Amit Prabhu, like
One question and then his question.
yeah.
Already discussed.
So
Vaishnava assembly is so amazing that so many devotees serve us by what we want to ask, they ask. Many times it happened for me also.
So in this connection, like you answered कि एक gradual process है भक्ति का, मतलब कर्मा ज्ञाना, but और जब devotee से मिलते हैं तो भक्ति direct, but
तो escalator.
but भक्ति मिलती ही तभी जब devotee से मिलते हैं.
हाँ
भक्ति मिलती ही तभी जब devotee से मिलते हैं.
हाँ सही है ना.
तो वो कर्म ज्ञान चाहिए ही नहीं ना. It is not required only. जैसे उसमें लास्ट लाइन में लिखा है fruitive material piety and analysis.
हाँ कर्म एंड ज्ञान बेसिकली.
तो वो ग्रेजुअल प्रोसेस भक्ति मिलती ही डिवोटी से है, तो वो तो
बाय डिफॉल्ट चलेगा.
या तो वो नहीं चाहिए या तो वो चाहिए ही चाहिए. एक ही चीज 0-1 ही रहेगा, उसमें ये दो चीजें नहीं हो सकती.
So that's why it has to be understood in context, bro. Don't take it devotionally. It is not a devotional statement at all. It is a statement what Krishna is telling there. Don't do others' duty, do your duty. That is point here. Does it make sense? It is not for a person who has come across bhakti and started practicing bhakti. No. Correct. Yes. Yes. So Jnana and Karma, my dear Prabhu, is Krishna's creation. He is following Krishna's words. So he will meet, this arrangement will be done by the Lord. This is Krishna's processes. Does it make sense? I don't know. Yes.
जी मेरा इसमें क्वेश्चन है, जैसे हम एक एग्जांपल लेते हैं, जैसे कोई व्यक्ति है वो उसका भी श्रद्धा नहीं है,
ये यही समझाने के लिए एग्जांपल दे रहे हैं।
या वो डिवोटी अभी एक नया व्यक्ति भक्तों के संग में आया है, जैसे इसमें समझा रहे हैं परपट में, और उसको ज्ञानी से और कर्मियों से बचना है, तो उसको फॉल डाउन हो जाएगा। यही हम समझे ना अभी तक,
नहीं
फॉल डाउन ही हो जाएगा ना।
नहीं ऐसा नहीं।
He is
देखो, एक
practicing-
एग्जांपल देता हूँ मैं आपको,
यस,
एग्जांपल से क्लियर हो जाएगा।
एग्जाम्पल ऐसा कि मतलब प्रैक्टिकली कैसे वो कर्म वाले काम करेगा, ज्ञान वाले काम करेगा, उसका फॉल डाउन हो जाएगा। ही इज प्रैक्टिसिंग, ट्राइंग टू प्रैक्टिस, बट जब मिक्सचर आएगा तो उसका फॉल डाउन होगा।
Faith. जो karma means what? It is not that he is doing. Nowadays, what you will find, who is doing karma technically, what is given in Vedas? No, the mentality of karma is attachment to fruits of action. So those people outside world is pura what is in it for me. Now whole world is full of karma mentality, more or less. And those who are little frustrated, they are little inquisitive and they are kind of wanting relief. So they want to withdraw and know something, that is jnana mentality. You understand? Enjoy, and these mentalities are being talked about. Have you met some people, like in bus party we met many people, happy thoughts and all this. What weird philosophies people have, because they are frustrated. So they want relief. So the person who has family in Mumbai, he was there in one temple in Shiva with full dadi and everything. He said, I am enjoying every moment. Right now I am taking prasadam with you. I am enjoying so much. My philosophy is I don't know what is there in the next day. And he goes on saying like that. So Pratik Prabhu was there. Where is he? You remember that person? So he is in this category of jnana. Relief चाहिए उसको, और वो 10 बार बोल रहा है, अरे every bit I am enjoying moments of my life. So Prabhuji also asked and I also asked, so Prabhuji, what is your sal? What is your goal of your life? And what is the method you are practicing? कुछ भी क्लैरिटी नहीं था। वो बोले मैंने एक विपश्यना योगा का कुछ कोर्स किया, तब भी कुछ तो रिलीफ मिला मुझे, तब से मैं ये करने लगा हूँ मेरे को। और बहुत ऑनेस्टली बोला हो, एक्चुअली देखो मैंने कुछ ज़्यादा पढ़ा, मेरे को ज़्यादा कुछ पता नहीं गोल बिल क्या है, लेकिन मजा कर रहा हूँ। तो ये मेंटेलिटी समझो। तो नाउ हियर कमिंग अ डिवोटी हियर, he thinks seeing something external accomplishment of outsider or devotee, and that faith he touches, because that person carrying faith means you imperceptibly carry your faith and give your faith to others. That's what is being spoken. Enthusiastic. So their faith goes to them because Komal Shraddha, contagious. So he thinks that this is very important. So what he does? अरे चैंटिंग छोड़ो, ये जरूरी है, ये ज्यादा करेंगे. मॉर्निंग प्रोग्राम कैन बी सेकेंडरी, दिस इज मोर इम्पॉर्टेंट. So he's becoming lax in his angas of bhakti, and Mishran is happening because of his wrong association.
Disrespect.
Nature. Then his evaluation will be based on his faith. So it's quite internal, but this is what happens internally, imperceptibly, to some extent. To degree, it is not clearly known that okay, this is a bad association. Then he will try to avoid.
अब क्लियर हुआ प्रभु जी, हैप्पी थॉट्स पे आपने समझाया ना, एग्जांपल दिए ज्ञानी वाला।
अरे वो बंदा कैसा था, प्रभु जी ने भी बात किया, उससे बहुत भारी बंदा था वो।
जो नया व्यक्ति,
But he had a very good thing. I appreciated him was his dependence on Krishna was so nice. I was seeing I don't have that much dependence. He doesn't know his next meal, doesn't know that part. I really बोला यार हम लोग तो किचन लेके घूम रहे इधर बस पार्टी में प्रचार करने के लिए, लेकिन अपना किचन है, उसका मेनू है, अच्छा सब बनता है। उस दिन इन्होंने उपमा भी बढ़िया बनाया था, वो अभी तक मैं सो नाइस उपमा एंड रसम, ecstatic, really it was nice. That's why I'm remembering that upma, and it got over actually. And this fellow is also taking nice prasad also, huh? He said I am enjoying and all like that. So, yes, his plan was different to go at the 4, but that Maharaj told you wait and 8 o'clock you go. So that part I deeply appreciate. मैं बोला अरे यार ये तो मेरे को करना चाहिए, डिपेंडेंस मेरा कुछ नहीं. So that was very nice in him. Dependence on Lord arranges. So okay, I think it's fine. Yes, so we'll go ahead. So Sve Sve Adhikare Yanishta, that is spoken. Going further, now as Amit Guru said, the next verse is that. So see, gives consequence of such mixed faith practice is disrespect. So basically, offenses happen because of mixture. And mixture happens because of lack of understanding the glory of pure devotion and the potency of pure devotion and the potency of person who is possessing pure devotion. That's why disrespect happens. That's why mixture happens. And know it or not, it is contagious. It is contagious. Next verse is the famous verse. Tyaktva sadarmam charanambhujam harer bhajanna pakvothapate tato yadi yatra kvava badra buddhamushakim kovarthavapto bhajatam swadharmataha. Yeah, read from this. Yeah, this you can read. Even if you can read.
Even if one does not execute his specific occupational duty, but immediately takes direct shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, direct shelter of the lotus feet of Hari, Krishna, there will be no fault on his part, and in all circumstances his position is secure. Even if by some bad association he falls down while executing devotional service, or he doesn't finish the complete course of devotional service and dies untimely, still he is not at a loss. Person who is simply discharging his occupational duty in Varna and Ashrama, however with no Krishna consciousness, practically does not gain the true benefit of human life.
The purport, yeah.
The purport is that all conditioned souls who are engaged very frantically in activities for sense gratification without knowing that this process will never help them get out of material contamination are avoided only with the repeated births and deaths.
Avoided, yeah. They are avoided samsara. So here, just to say that the context in which this verse comes in Srimad Bhagavatam is where this verse? So Narada is telling Vyasdev. Vyasdev has written everything about mixed devotional service in all his books, right? With good intention of compassion only he wrote, but he was dissatisfied. Then Narada is instructing. So he is not instructing, he is instructing for the highest thing only and nothing else. He is talking about, please glorify pure devotional service only and only that only. That's all. Repetitively do it and emphatically do it. That's what. So that context this verse is spoken. And this verse is objection of Vedvyas. Actually Vedvyas is objecting Narada by saying, previous to this verse he has told that you just glorify Krishna's pastimes. The intelligent people will take to the process fully, and those who are very much conditioned will follow the leaders like Yad Yad Acharati Shreshthas. Right? This whole world goes by that. They all have some kind of people to follow, right? So don't worry, you just speak purely. There will be intelligent. Vichakshana asya arhati veditum vibho. Vichakshana people will take to this pure practice. Don't worry. And those who are anatman, they will see, arey, this person is doing, let me also do. So don't worry, your compassion also will be reached by this method also. So having said that in previous verse, now Narada is asked by Vedvyas that, my dear Vedvyas, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling that don't disturb others' faith. And how you are saying that, these vichakshanas, their faith will go and they will become sinful. Bhagavad Gita quote karke Vedvyas is quoting Bhagavad Gita to Narad Muni. Narad Muni is giving this answer. That if they have developed the pure faith and given up even dharma, there is no problem. Even faith is disturbed, because who can disturb faith? Who has pure faith like Prabhupada? Prabhupada says, na, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur also says in that purport, that this verse doesn't apply for devotees. One who has poor faith can disturb everyone's faith, no problem. Because that's why he wants to give that pure faith. But this verse applies to Jnani. Jnani should not tell Karmi that, give up your duties and come to Jnana. Like that. This verse is spoken in that context. So this is Shuddha Bhakti only. But even if someone practices sentimentally Shuddha or Mishra Bhakti, on instruction of pure Bhakti, it's pure Bhakti. Because of request of pure devotee. That following becomes pure devotion. So that is not defined here in that sense. Does it make sense what I am saying? Sentimentally, like someone joins and then he comes in touch with devotee, pure devotee, like Prabhupada for example. So, and Prabhupada says something, you do this. कर दिया, Prabhupada खुश हो गया, finished. बहुत कुछ हो गया उसका क्या अधिकार था, वो कुछ भी हो सकता है. Because a pure devotee, more person is exalted, he can raise anyone to his platform without sadhan. This is the power of pure devotee. This is what was spoken by His Holiness Bhakti Vigyan Maharaj in ILS seminar. That a pure devotee's power is by glance. He can raise a person to his level. He has that power. And he said that prema person and bhava person will do it by guidance. And others try to do whatever they can. That's why it's important for every one of us to give pure message. To take pure message, give pure message. Don't contaminate it by our own thoughts and action. So that's the essential thing, because potency and power of pure devotion is beyond our imagination. What can happen, and Prabhupada has shown us that. But we have to understand Siddhanta behind what has happened and when it can happen. Right? So this verse is that context. Then Prabhupada quotes, this verse is not quoted by Rupa Goswami or any other Acharya. Prabhupada is taking the point ahead that simply by, karma is so, what you can say, binding. Fruitive activity is the most difficult thing to give up in this creation. This not statement given directly, but similar statement is there in Bhagavad Gita purport by Baladev Vidyabhushan. That's why many places in Bhagavad Gita it is told that you don't get affected by Sukha Dukkha. So many places it comes. Why it is told again and again? Because it's very difficult to give up that fruitive mentality. So that is called karma. Evam mana karma vasham prayongte. When that thing is there, you always think about that. Then that cycle to break is very impossible. So unless he develops love for the Supreme Lord, Priti na yavan mai vasudeve, he will remain in the Deha Yogena Tavat. Until they develop loving feeling for Vasudev, there will be no question of getting out from the stringent laws of material nature. So it's very, very binding, actually. So that's what is told. As such a person who is very seriously engaged in his occupational duties and who does not develop love for the Supreme Personality of Godhead should be understood to be simply spoiling his human form of life. So same thing is glorified by Krishna also in the future verse. So please read the translation here. You can you just complete this and then you will have. Read the translation, my dear Uddhava.
My dear Uddhava, you will see that.
Yes.
The text.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My dear Uddhava, any person who takes shelter of me in complete surrender and follows my instructions, giving up all occupational duties, is to be considered the first class man. In this statement of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is understood that people who are generally attracted to philanthropic, ethical, moral, altruistic, political, and social welfare activities may be considered nice men only in the calculation of material world.
Yeah, that's fine. Next is that only. Same thing is spoken in other language. See, these are the people are very difficult to get into bhakti. You agree? People who are so to say doing something welfare activity is very very difficult actually too, because they are already relishing some rasa of so-called extended sense gratification in Prabhupada terms. So what Krishna is telling in this verse is that one who knows the scriptures, what are gunan and doshas, huh? He knows all of them properly, but one who, with that knowledge, he surrenders to me, knowing what is conducive and what is not conducive for bhakti. He is Sattamaha, means he is a very intelligent person. Like here, you can read the translation. Yeah. So anyway, the point here is that Varnashram system, because that's the context of the whole thing. So he takes shelter of me completely, giving up all occupational duties is considered first class. Means what? One who knows Shastra, what is dharma, what is piety, what is impiety, when that person also comes to my shelter, he gives up that. Not an ignorant person. So some person who is like that is very intelligent. Sattama, like that. That's the point being said here. So these welfare activities are just calculation of material world. It is completely. So Prabhupada saying Bhagavatam is rejecting these all things. And next verse also comes. These are all verses which are quoted for renunciation, isn't it? The depths are removed, right? So, but there is asterisk of proper faith. There is that conditions apply. That is very important. So this all of us know, very famous verse. Devarshi bhutapta nrinam pratirinam na kinkaro nayam ranicha rajan sarvatmana yah sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam pariritya kartu. So all these depths are not there for a person who is sarvatmanahaya sharanam sharanyam, one who has complete, Prabhupada saying that complete shelter, surrendering himself unto the lotus feet of the Lord. So basically his pure faith has awakened. Then he surrenders. Yeah, big. When you say Kanishta means other levels are there in it. Kanishta level only this. Kanishta faith also this verse applies. Previous verse also. But that faith has to be there. That Kanishta Adhikari. That's why I said earlier also that some senior devotees shared with me, right? That there are very few sadhakas. Or earlier Bhagavad Gita was 18. ISKCON was 18.66. Now ISKCON is entire Bhagavad Gita. So these are all telling the same facts actually in a different language. So Prabhupada here explains this depth terminology, since he is writing a summary and writing to people who doesn't know a word about depth. In the Western culture, there is Mother's Day, Father's Day. So they don't know sages depth, what. So he is explaining all the depths. So we will not discuss those depths, but we have to know that we are debtor to even sages who have written scriptures. We are reading the scriptures and all. There is a depth. So when we study them, we are giving out that depth to them. So this feeling is important. Although one may say that, okay, Sarvatmana yash sharanyam, I don't have to give up. So a true devotee will never feel like that I have given up fully. So he will feel that I am debtor. That feeling is there. He may give up those people, but his gratitude to those people doesn't go away. No, ऋण आजकल one senior devotee was telling that अभी क्या लोग ऋण ज्यादा लेते हैं, ऋणी नहीं है. ऋणी का कुछ है ही नहीं रहा. Feeling of gratitude. So that was the culture, because they were knowing how things are happening, mother, father. So that feeling of gratitude towards all of them, that is there in the devotee. So Prabhupada explains that, sages and everything. In this way, we are indebted to demigods, forefathers, sages, animals, society in general. as other day he was also explaining na our Sunday Bhagavatam class or Krishna Kishore Prabhu was telling, right, that how the whatever we get is based on our parents and their parents and everything. So हमको लगता है अपने में कुछ है तो वो भी उधर से आया है, so we can be grateful. We don't follow them, we may not necessarily obey them, but the feeling of gratitude can be there. It's our duty to repay them all by proper discharge of service. But by the one stroke of devotional service, 100 सोनार की 1 लोहार की, तो 1 लोहार की कर देंगे तो ये सब अदर छोटा छोटा मानने का जरूरत नहीं. वही प्रभुपाद बोल रहे थे. Yes, Prabhu, you had some. In Bhagavatam. What is that? You open that verse.
For that verse of Tyakta Swadharmam. So in that we discussed that a person, like artificially, if he just follows if he just is inspired by the external symptoms of a devotee, and then he doesn't have pure faith, he is following the other path, but just by seeing the imitating and he comes, then that is not appropriate, then that is dosha on his part. We discussed about
continue ahead.
Yeah, and then in the next this verse, Tyakta wala, so in that we discussed that even if he gives up karma and jnana and he comes to bhakti, there is no loss in that. So that reconciliation, right? Like you said that jnani cannot inspire that a karmi should come to jnana marg, leaving the karma. But we discussed that in terms of bhakti, in the previous verse. It was not in terms of jnana marg. It was in terms of bhakti.
Bhakti comes on. Yes. So what I want to say, see, there is no problem in coming to bhakti by any motivation. That's why people are wandering, prasadam is being distributed, books are being distributed, we are going to colleges. So, and we are giving nice prasadam, nice presentation, what they want, stress relieving and all these things. So one can come by any motivation. But he has to understand that that is not what is the thing here. We came for something else. I am telling about myself. I was not a seeker or seeker of something else only. But the sweet which was given in Suratkal was the inspiration to continue the course. And Sundar Chaitanya Prabhu's answers in the first lecture. So we can begin, or we or anyone can begin with it, and that's perfect. But the problem is, after it has, education should happen, that is not the highest. Let us know what is being given. So that's the example of what Gaurang Prabhu says, I think, that you wanted something, you ended up accident, you fall in the, what is that, diamond shop. Oh, you are looking for something else only. बट आ गया डायमंड शॉप में, क्या मिलेगा उधर? डायमंड ही मिलेगा. तो उसका वैल्यू क्या है, वो क्या है, ये जानना जरूरी. तो कमिंग इज नॉट अ इशू.
Question is not in terms of accepting bhakti or coming into bhakti.
Okay.
Question is about leaving the other path.
Leaving swadharma. So that's what I addressed to him. He was saying, see, coming is not a problem. When someone is giving up the duties with mixed faith, is not appropriate.
And that is then about mixed faith.
Yes.
So it all depends on whether that is mixed faith or
Yes.
pure faith.
So see, what is the problem when he gives up by mixed faith is given here in this verse by Jiva Goswami, that he will be frustrated because we are looking for something else. He will not get that, and he will disrespect devotees. These two are the effects. Even if that's what he said, even if he's practicing, Jiva Goswami is saying, those who are qualified for jnana and karma are persons without such faith in bhakti. Okay, though they may begin practicing pure bhakti by devotee association. वो कर रहे सब कुछ, practicing pure bhakti बोले, सब actions कर रहे, faith नहीं. then they quickly show disrespect. वैल्यू सिस्टम अलग है ना, तो डिसरिस्पेक्ट करेंगे. एज अ रिजल्ट दे फेल टू अटेन देयर गोल्स. मीन्स व्हाट, ही ऑल्सो विल बी फ्रस्ट्रेटेड and he will disrespect. In that sense, they become full of fault by giving up that for which they are qualified, namely jnana and karma. So coming to one relevant point here, once I think Radheshampu was saying, in GGD one, he was saying that there are some people who are creating lot of issues. They don't know. So best is good for them that you keep them out so that they don't offend more. Have you heard this? We have discussed. Right? Why? Because offenses happen. वैल्यू समझ में नहीं आया, वो आया कुछ तो फैसिलिटी के लिए आया और वही चाहिए उसको, दूसरा कुछ चाहिए ही नहीं. तो उसके ऊपर ही उसका है, तो वो भी फ्रस्ट्रेटेड है और वो अपराध कर रहा है. तो क्या बोला गया, ऐसे लोगों को बाहर रखो, ग्रेटिट्यूड लगने दो उसको थोड़ा. यू आर गेटिंग द context what is being actually, because you asked, so I felt. So this same principle is being said there by Prabhuji for such people, what is their motivation? If only study and good food is the motivation, and after coming, after attending morning program, everything that only is there, then he will not be happy, and he will make others unhappy and by disrespecting them. What to speak of the brahmacharis? They are the most nicely purified by such people, right? So we are grateful to such people also. So is it making sense? We'll complete and then come Prabhuji. हाँ नहीं, वो डिस्कशन बड़ा होता है. We'll take at the end. Is it okay? It's very pressing. Just we'll complete this, then come. Because we have not yet completed 5th chapter also. I was thinking 6th chapter also we'll do. So the famous verse is quoted. So see the context of this verse. Means this is speaking about pure faith. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchi. So sarva parityajya means in all respects he is giving up. His faith is pure. So when that faith is pure, the impediments in bhakti are removed by the Lord. That is the meaning of this verse. So when, see here, Jiva Goswami is saying, the word pari should be understood to mean the rejection should be complete. Thoda chhod ke aaya, nahi. Complete rejection. So that's why we were told earlier also, and it's very conducive, and we should be very, in principle, we should go closer to that. When I joined, that time the rule was, you should remove all your hooks in the material world. What are different hooks? Can someone give examples? Job to chhod diya. Bank account is big hook, the biggest hook. You should give up all, you should not have that. And we all did that actually, and that's wonderful. But now issue is that parents are forcing, क्या वो combined account रहता है ना, लिखो मैं बोला नहीं करने का, नहीं करो. So issue is that we have to be understanding what is pure principle, and then for other reason, if you are asked to keep it by some reason, we have to understand that why I am doing what I am doing. We have to ask. Otherwise, full giving up only will lead to full surrender. You understand that? Otherwise, it's not possible. कुछ तो है मतलब फिर भगवान नहीं है, फिर दूसरा कुछ भी है. And wealth then is very, very, so secretly keeping is not very good. Not very good. And now current situation is so dangerous culturally that sometimes brahmachari has to, because whatever his family, something is there. So he cannot give because misuse, so he should keep also. Then what is his faith? He should not think it as hope. It is not mine. Sarva dharman parityajya. It's not mine. Rejection should be complete. I will free you from all sins. Means I will free you from all impediments in bhakti. So when you give up fully, I will remove all impediments. When you keep something, some hook, so impediment will come through that hook. That's the point. So that's why this all things require faith, and that's what is the topic of discussion here. Adhikar. So know the adhikar and try to raise our adhikar wherever it is, and there is no end to it. So same thing, he is substantiating it by quoting some other shastra from Agastya Samhita, that for devotee duly engaged in service of Lord, he doesn't have to, regulative principles of scripture are not for that person. Like that. And this is the last thing which we discussed, not earlier, but some similar point, that even if such person with faith, he commits some sinful activity, by accident, Krishna in his heart will purify him. That is this verse. Swapada moolam bhajata priyasya vyaktanna bhavasya harim pareshah vikarma yachotpatitam kathanchit dhunoti sarvam hridhi sannivishtaha. So, tyakt anya bhavasya is the purity of his faith. All the other worships, all other faiths is not there. Even if vikarma yacha utpatitam, means if he happens to do some vikarma, Lord will dhunoti sarvam hridhi sannivishtaha. He is so dear to Lord that Lord will purify him. And how it will happen, which is not directly given here, because his faith is pure. When he does sinful activity, what will happen to him? He will be very genuinely repentant, and those tears of repentance are greater purifying than his intense practice also. Not that to compare, but to show the glory of repentance. And repentance is directly connected with faith. So that's what actually is the message of that day class of Tulsi Prabhu, that when mistakes, who doesn't do mistakes? Everyone of us does mistake. What to speak of Kali Yuga Brahmacharis? Where is the qualification? Only Acharyas are desiring, that's why we are Brahmacharis. We have zero qualification to wear this, at least I am saying for myself, zero qualification to wear these days. Only because Prabhupada and previous Acharyas, Gurus are thinking that these fellows should do something for Prabhupada's movement. That's why we are sustaining on their desires as a Brahmachari. So we have no qualification. So mistakes will happen. So what do we do with that? Repentance, or we justify, clarify, or he was saying now after someone catches, then you say, yeah, Prabhuji, मैंने किया. बहुत डेंजर है और ये हो रहा है इसलिए मैं बोल रहा हूँ. Earlier Revatipathi Prabhu also said some example, right? So we have to know actually the pure faith. What is the process? That's what Prabhuji was saying. We have to know the process properly and follow the process properly. Wherever we are, it will be lead to elevation. But if we are stick to not understanding the process, thinking that what I am doing is correct, it's a very, very dangerous situation. So, and Prabhupada ends with very sweet thing about Krishna, saying that it is also confirmed in Bhagavad Gita in many places that the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna takes special interest in his devotees and declares emphatically that nothing can cause his devotees to fall down. He is always protecting them. So devotees apparently fall down. Bharat Maharaj apparently fall down, but his consciousness was advanced. Then deer was more advanced than Bharat Maharaj. Jad Bharat was more advanced than deer. So there is no fall down. But it appears like fall down. So that's the case. Vitrasur, same case. Chitraketu was advanced. After meeting Angira and all, he was still more advanced. He reached there, he was more advanced. He was with Mataji's glorifying devotees, he was more advanced. After getting sharp, becoming Vitrasur was more advanced. While fighting with Indra and teaching him on battlefield, he was the highest devotee. So he is going ahead only. Externally it appears some fall down has happened. There is no fall down for a devotee connected to Krishna. There is no fall down, and he knows it because he is in connection with Krishna inside. That's what Prabhupada is saying. What he is saying, he takes a special interest and declares emphatically that nothing can cause his devotee to fall down. So there is no loss of connectivity with Krishna of such person who has developed that pure faith. He is always protecting them. Yes, so thus this chapter ends. So we will begin with the next chapter. So having said that, now we will go first because the why part is over. Okay, the first 5 chapters which Rup Goswami spoke elaborately, quoting so many evidences, that part is over now. Maybe it was technical or philosophical. Now the part of what is coming, so Abhideya is coming. So, but still there also on outset of Avideya is declaring what he is going to do. So see, read this. Next chapter is entitled How to Discharge Devotional Service. Okay, so title is also like that. Yes, read this first paragraph.
Srila Rupa Goswami states that his elder brother Sanatan Goswami has compiled Hari Bhakti Vilas for the guidance of the Vaishnavas, and therein has mentioned many rules and regulations to be followed by the Vaishnavas. Some of them are very important and prominent, and Srila Rupa Goswami will now mention these very important items for our benefit. The purport of this statement is that Srila Rupa Goswami proposes to mention only basic principles, not details.
Yeah, so these are special words which are used, principle and detail. And there is a devil in the detail, like that. Many things are spoken about this principle and detail. So let us try to understand what Prabhupada is saying. So Prabhupada is saying, quoting Sanatan Goswami. Who is Sanatan Goswami? Yeah, very open-ended question. You don't tell about his personality, but speak some words. Who is Sanatan Goswami? Sambandha Acharya, Hari Bol. Correct, Sambandha Acharya. Or what else? What is name? Lavang Manjiri, Hari Bol. What? Sakar Malik. Nice. The most unique thought. Thank you. So, why Prabhupada is quoting, why Rupa Goswami is saying here, is very important to understand. Hari Bhakti Vilasesya Bhakti Rangani Lakshashaha. Thousands of Bhakti Angas are given in Hari Bhakti Vilas. His brother only, his Guru. He has given so much things in Hari Bhakti Vilas already. Right? He has given how to celebrate festivals. All whatever you see is given in Hari Bhakti Vilas. The details of how the material world, how things should connect to Krishna, how it is to be offered, everything is given in terms of the celebration of festivals, deity worship, and so on, so many things. But here Rupa Goswami, Kintu Tani Prasiddhani Nirdishante Yathamati. Very humbly he is saying, according to my discretion, according to my mati, I have selected a few important of them. So what is the purpose of Rupa Goswami? Because Rupa Goswami is which Acharya? Abhideya Acharya. So what is important in Abhideya? That's why he has chosen some items here. So details, with details everything is given there. Essential things he is giving here. So going to this now, we will see one slide where this principle and detail principle can become little bit. No, sometimes why it is not visible. Yeah. So see, every one of us knows this. We have discussed earlier that prescribed actions. So anyway, this is their prescribed actions properly done with Sambandha Gyan lead to actions with spiritual emotions towards Hari, Guru and Vaishnavas. That's what Sadhan Bhakti means. Sadhan Bhakti means actions done with body, mind and words based on right understanding lead to proper emotions. Like a drama basically. You first do some role, take up some role first in drama, then director will help you to put your emotions in that drama. First you participate in drama means sadhan bhakti. Okay, एक drama चल रहा है. Actually sadhan bhakti is also drama only in one sense. Factual drama it is. Only thing is, the director has emotions, so he will try to teach you that okay, next time you can put more emotions when you are offering flower or whatever. So, but drama has to be done, right? So, actions can be done with words, mind, and body. That's why all it should be there, all three. Now, going further, when we are doing actions, we have to know why we are doing what we are doing. So, principle and detail. Yeah. Anyway, it is visible fully only. Fine, no problem. So, Rup Goswami's purpose of NOD and NOI. It is Abhideya Shastra. It is telling us Abhideya. Whereas Sanatan Goswami has written Hari Bhakti Vilas and many other Brihad Bhagavatamrita. It is mainly Sambandha Shastra. It is telling us the different places, what is there, what is the experience. It's giving information mainly. So it's a Abhideya, it is a Sambandha Shastra. It is telling about Sambandha Shastra means knowing about Prayojanas, different Prayojanas are there. Knowing about them. But Abhideya means what is to be done. So Rup Goswami, NOI and NOD. Purpose is to tell principle. Prabhupada said, right? Principles are told by Prabhupada. Chapter 1 to 5. So what he did is to create faith on the process of this bhakti. Because in Abhideya, two things are important. Your faith and your knowledge. That's why the two things are Kanishta, Madhyama, Uttama. Faith, knowledge. So these two things are important while practicing Abhideya. That's why you begin practicing process. Any factual practice of process begins with proper faith and knowledge. That Magh Snan, there is faith and knowledge. Then only you enter. So actual process of will begin with these two things. So what is the principle and detail is, like just now analogy, cooking analogy, what is principle and what is detail? Now you want to cook something. So the most important thing is fire. What vessels you will use, what items you have to cook are the details, right? So if fire only is not there, the utensils and items are there, can you do anything? Nothing can happen. Cooking cannot happen, right? Like different vessels and the objects to be cooked, they will vary according to time, place and circumstance. So there is a what is the fire? To develop the mood, right mood of action is the core fire which Krishna sees. That is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upavritam ashnami prayatatmana. So that fire is nothing but that conscious feeling towards Krishna. If that is there, that is the mood. And how you do, there are infinite number of ways you can do the things. There can be so many varieties of utensils and varieties of items to be cooked. And it will vary according to time, place and circumstance and a person. So to emphasize this mood very clearly, Rup Goswami is telling principles, not details. Details is not telling. So Prabhupada gives one example there. So about accepting spiritual master. So then what is our role as jivas? We are just medium actually. Medium, that is we say an instrument. I want to become an instrument. Then medium. Purpose of the medium is to act in relationship with Krishna in a particular mood, which will be awakened by practice of sadhan bhakti. So by properly acting as a medium, then we can do this cooking, by which the actual cooking will happen with fire, right? So fire will be created by principles. And principles are applied differently according to the details of the situation, circumstance, person, and the place involved, right? So Rup Goswami is choosing only principles here, not the details. So this is very essential to understand. That's why to create that right mood, he has written first 5 chapters and NOI also. To create what is glory of, what is Shresthatva. He is not talking any detail much. So to create the faith, that's the essential thing. Otherwise, the factual process doesn't begin actually. Just like, example is that you see the demigods' prayers, there is lot of, what is Vitrasura, that time demigods' prayers, if you see, there is a lot of knowledge, nice knowledge in their prayers. Even pure devotional knowledge is there. But there is no mood which Lord is looking for in. So there is utensils, everything is there, but the principle is missing. That's why Lord is telling, my dear Prabhus, intelligent person will not ask all these things. There is one verse which Lord appears, and when they are praying, my dear Devatas, I am very pleased with knowledge of your prayers. And those who will recite these prayers will attain me. And next verse, he kind of chastises them or indirectly says that intelligent person will not desire for such things. Mai ekanta bhakti nanyat matto vanchati tattvavit. Like that he says. So there is no proper mood, but the content is very nice. Like Yaksha is offering Hamsa Guhya prayers. Hamsa Guhya prayers are so wonderful. Pure devotional prayers. But there is no right mood only in that. So why Rupa Goswami is writing all these things is, he is going to the core principle understanding by which the fire will be there in the actions and emotions and everything. Everything else. The core thing will come, and that comes by faith and knowledge only. By faith and knowledge only. Otherwise, the others, there are unlimited ways to do that, right? Fire is there, then you can adjust, do something in that situation and you get things cooked. There is no problem. That's what Prabhupada did. Prabhupada didn't worry about what scriptures are writing, I should not cross this, that, He had fire. So he could cook it. Because he had fire. He had faith, he has knowledge, Bhakti, Vedanta. Right? So he could cook anyone. He adjusted, he did marriages, all these things are against Shastra. But he had that core faith and knowledge which he had. So that's what has to be very, very clearly. That's why he is giving principles. So because details will vary. Detail is, there are so many different details for every activity is mentioned. How many ways it can be done, forget it. Anyone who is doing with right fire is fine, according to wherever he is. And that's what happens in ISKCON also. The standards vary according to the place and how many people are there. Right? So, but the main thing, if the person who is there, his fire is there, everything gets cooked. There is no problem. So that's what is the very essential principle. That so that's why he is speaking here. He is choosing something from thousands of details, some essential things, which has to be very seriously practiced. And in that also he makes more specific into 64. First 20 are like door. So you enter, and after entering, your entry happens with spiritual master, first 3 principles. Without that you cannot enter also. After entering, the 5 becomes most prominent. So that's why the potency in them is more, that's why. So that's how he is bringing in the very big gamut of Hari Bhakti Vilas. Like someone, I think Prabhupada told, if you read that, you will go to hell. I think, correct? You heard that? So that's why so many things are given. You will not understand kya karna, kya nahi karna, and you will start finding faults with everyone. If you read Hari Bhakti Vilas, even within staying in devotees, you will start finding faults. Disrespect will begin. That's why Prabhupada made such strong statement. You will not understand kya karna hai. You start, your value system will be wrong. But when you focus on these core things which are given by Rupa Goswami, because he is focusing on creating the fire, creating the right mood, which is Kriti Sadhya Bhavet Sadhya Bhava. To awaken, that is the goal, that is the faith, that is the knowledge, then one can follow these 64 principles. So then there will be proper effect of cooking. And what is the medium? Medium are us. So we try to practice those angas with trying to create right mood, like a drama. So right emotions will be told by the Guru who is directing our drama. So we have to try to create that emotion like acting in drama. That's all. Hmm? So what is mother? So same activities we do, but there are some recommendations because we don't know how to do it ideally. Like for example, Mother Yashoda knows exactly how to please Krishna as a child. So she doesn't have to be taught. But here it has to be taught. The actions, so that is what is the direction is required for all angas of bhakti, because there is nothing different to be done in spiritual world. In one sense, actions are concerned. Actions are more or less same on what we are doing here. Only difference is they know the best, how to please Krishna best. We don't know, so we follow Guru. That's the whole thing as a medium. So that's why there are okay, you do this, you don't do. So many rules, regulations are given for that purpose that we don't know. So it is being taught through Hari Bhakti Vilas and Rup Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. The ideal thing, what will please Krishna, is not given. So medium can act in a way by which, by following the rules, the emotions will awaken. So that's what is systematic way Rup Goswami is going in 4 waves. He is telling this Samanya Bhakti, which will bring in emotions. Then the Vaidhi Bhakti, where one practices under Shasan. Then that gradually brings in spontaneity in the practice. That is the next section. And then there is last section 2 are Bhava and Prema, that is perfection. That's how he is taking, and after that the next 3 waves are talking about what is that experience. So this is how Rupa Goswami is going very systematically to make us understand what are the right important principles and what is the right mood in which action is done, not just the action itself. So that's how he is doing that categorization. So he defines what is Lakshana before telling 64. So there are 2 types of Lakshanas. Ashrita Avantara Aneka Bhedam Kevalam Evava Ekam Karmatra Vidbadbhir Ekam Bhakti Angam Uchyate. So he is giving a definition of what is Anga. So there are 2 types of Anga, he says. What are 2 types of Anga? So one is Ashrita Avantara Aneka Bhedam Kevalam. No, not Kevalam. That first 3 words. So what it means? It is the learned define Anga of Bhakti as a complex devotional actions with internal divisions. Okay? This is one. Complex devotional actions with internal divisions. Like for example, Archana Vidhi is given. One of the 64 Angas, Archana. But it's so elaborate, there are so many things in that, but he has given Archana, that's all. Principle. But he gives only. And second type is Kevalam Ekam Karma. Kevalam, only one action of bhakti which does not clearly define differences within it. This is second category of Lakshan. So that example Prabhupada has quoted here, like accepting a spiritual master. Now details are not given how to do it, what to do. There are aspashtata in the details, but he has given the principle, accepting a spiritual master. So Prabhupada takes that only and gives that example. So please read that. For example,
a basic principle is that one has to accept a spiritual master. Exactly how one follows the instructions of a spiritual master is considered detail. For example, if one is following the instruction of a spiritual master, and that instruction is different from the instructions of another spiritual master, this is called detailed information. But the basic principle of acceptance of a spiritual master is good everywhere, although the details may be different. Srila Rupa Goswami does not wish to enter into details here, but wants to place before us only the principles.
okay. Here, what is happening is, Prabhupada so nicely explained, right? Details Rupa Goswami is not giving. And it's the most standard confusion Prabhupada has given. here. Most standard confusion is two different instructions. So details are not being spoken here. Details of the principle. So that's the example Prabhupada gives. So basically two kinds of angas he is going to tell. One anga is like Archana, where there are so many complex sections, he is not explaining them. एक बोल के छोड़ दिया अर्चना. For detail you refer Hari Bhakti. Accepting, and other category is there are not clear divisions. Yeah, here what is it? Only one action of bhakti which does not have clearly defined differences within it is also given. That is called, that example is accepting spiritual master. Other example Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives is of Kirtanam, for example. So there can be difference, Guna Kirtan, Nama Kirtan, Lila Kirtan, etc. That is not directly given here when he is listing them. When he will explain, the Acharyas will tell, right? So that's what, these are two kinds of lakshanas, and then he lists the angas. So which will list today? 64 angas. And then we will stop this 64. So see how systematically he is writing this book. So now in this chapter he just lists them first and tells essentials. That first 20 are like door to bhakti. You understand? Door means without it you cannot enter. So door. So in that first 3 are most essential. Adhav Guru Padashya. Then what? Guru Dikshadi Shikshanam, and then Vishrambhena Gurur Seva, Sadhu Vartmanu Vartan. That is fourth one. So he says that first 3 are in this door also. There are 10 do's and 10 don'ts. 10 have to be followed and 10 have to be followed by not doing them. So these 2 are like door to bhakti. So like that he is telling us, this is what is his way of telling importance, principles. Otherwise, person will get bogged up, confused in details. Actually, lot of time goes if one doesn't understand what is principle and what is detail. And lot of meetings and lot of things happen, lot of people have challenges when these things are not clear. So it's very essential to understand what is what actually. So as it is science of devotion, or no, law book of ISKCON, no? Science of devotion service. Yeah. What Prabhupada says below? Bhakti Rasam and nectar of devotion, what is it? Complete science of bhakti yoga, right? Science it is. It's a very science. So it is explaining in a very scientific way actually. That's why Prabhupada has titled like that. So these first 10 are there. So I will just show this slide. Yeah. So please read them. Yeah. Yeah, read this 10 first. Here, Prabhupada only you can read directly. Now Sanskrit, or maybe, okay, Sanskrit you can look up.
Not able to see, please.
Oh, here, nothing is. You can read from. So this first 10 are given. Oh, you're this old joining. First,
Okay, should I read from
BSPDC.
book?
You start. BSPDC.
He mentions the basic principles as follows. First, accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. Second, becoming initiated by the spiritual master and learning how to discharge devotion service from him. Third, obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. Fourth, following in the footsteps of great acharyas, teachers, under the direction of the spiritual master. Fifth, inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness. Sixth, being prepared to give up anything material for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This means that when we are engaged in the devotional service of Krishna, we must be prepared to give up something which may not which we may not like to give up, and also we have to accept something which we may not like to accept.
So this is clear, na principle. Many times we discussed about it. Like while being in brahmacharya ashram, you have to do something which you don't like. You will not have, both sides will not be there always. For long time, it's not possible to do something what you don't like if you don't have faith. But generally, it won't happen like that. So, but that's why this is a principle. So, go to Bhakti, first 10 principles given by Rupa Goswami. Yeah, read ahead.
7th, residing in a sacred place of pilgrimage like Dwarka or Vrindavan. 8th, accepting only what is necessary or dealing with the material world only as far as necessary. 9th, observing the fasting day on Ekadashi. And 10th, worshipping sacred trees like the banyan tree.
Yeah. So, yeah, these 10 items, read.
These 10 items are preliminary necessities for beginning the discharge of devotional service in regulative principles. In the beginning, if a neophyte devotee observes the above mentioned 10 principles, surely he will quickly make good advancement in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. So, they are primary necessities, right? So, this is what it means when earlier it was said that it was fault to practice the angas of bhakti. So, these 10 angas come in that. These 10 angas. If it is not done, then it's a fault. Very clearly defined by Rupa Goswami. Then what about the other 10? Yatireka amisham dashanam syad anushtitaha. So you follow the next 10 by not doing it. What are those don'ts? Yeah, read.
The next set of instruction is listed as follows. One should rigidly give up the company of non-devotees. One should not instruct a person who is not desirous of accepting devotional service. One should not be very enthusiastic about constructing costly temples or monasteries. One should not try to read too many books, nor should one develop the idea of earning his livelihood by lecturing on or professionally reciting Srimad Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita. One should not be neglectful in ordinary dealings. One should not be under the spell of lamentation in loss or jubilation in gain. One should not disrespect the demigods. One should not give unnecessary trouble to any living entity. One should carefully avoid the various offenses in chanting the holy names of the Lord or in worshipping the deities in the temple. One should be very intolerant towards the blasphemy of the Supreme Personality of God, Krishna, or his devotees.
Yeah. So these are the nons. Now what he says, yeah, read that yellow.
Without following the above mentioned 10 principles, one cannot properly elevate himself to the platform of sadhana bhakti or devotional service in practice.
Yeah.
Altogether, Sri Rupa Goswami mentions 20 items, and all of them are very important. Out of the 20, the first 3, namely accepting the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, taking initiation from him, and serving him with respect and reverence, are the most important.
Yeah. So among these 64, 20. Among these 20, first 10. Among 10, first 3. That's how he is showing here entry. Right? Entry. Asya tatra praveshya dwaratve api anga vimshataha. Means these 20 are like doors to bhakti. Doors. Means entry point. Without opening the door, you cannot enter bhakti. Trayam pradhanam evoktam guru padashrayadikam. Among these doors, these 3 are the most essential. Right? These 3 are listed here. Now next 44 are there, which just we can, as it is listed, we will read them. Yeah. So these 44 are divided among different limbs, because what is sadhana bhakti? Engaging senses, mind and words in Krishna's service. So they are categorized very systematically by Rupa Goswami. So he goes from gross, then to ears, then to mind, then like that he goes. And then ending with 5 potent forms. So after entering, 5 potent forms become most prominent actually. So he ends this chapter by saying that these 5 potent forms are very powerful. Yeah. So, yeah. Now you read this 44.
The next
We'll
important
discuss that as it comes in the next chapters. Okay. Now let us understand the full thing. What is happening? Yes.
The next important items are as follows. One should decorate the body with tilak, which is a sign of Vaishnavas. The idea is that as soon as a person sees these marks on the body of the Vaishnava, he'll immediately remember Krishna. Lord Chaitanya said that a Vaishnava is he who, when seen, reminds one of Krishna. Therefore, it is essential that a Vaishnava mark his body with tilak to remind others of Krishna. Second, in marking such tilak, sometimes one may write Hare Krishna on the body. Third,
Interesting way Prabhupada is written.
third, one should accept flowers and garlands that have been offered to the deity and the spiritual master and put them on one's body. Fourth, one should learn to dance before the deity. Fifth, one should learn to bow down immediately upon seeing the deity or the spiritual master. Sixth, as soon as one visits a temple of Lord Krishna, one must stand up. Seventh, when the deity is being borne for a stroll in the street, a devotee should immediately follow the procession. In this connection, it may be noted that in India, especially in Vishnu temples, the system is that apart from the big deity who is permanently situated in the main area of the temple, there is a set of smaller deities which are taken in procession in the evening. In some temples, it is a custom to hold a big procession in the evening with a band playing and a nice big umbrella over the deities, who sit on decorated thrones on the cart or palanquin, which is carried by devotees. The deities come out onto the street and travel in the neighborhood while the people of the neighborhood come out to offer prasad. The residents of the neighborhood all follow the procession, so it is a very nice scene. When the deity is coming out, the servitors in the temples put forward the daily accounts before them. So much was the collection, so much was the expenditure. The whole idea is that the deity is considered to be the proprietor of the whole establishment, and all the priests and other people taking care of the temple are considered to be the servants of the deity. The system is very, very old and is still followed. So, therefore, it is mentioned here that when the deity is on stroll, the people should follow behind. Eighth, a devotee must visit a Vishnu temple at least once or twice every day, morning and evening. In Vrindavan, the system is followed very strictly. All the devotees in town go every morning and evening to visit different temples. Therefore, during these times, there are considerable crowds all over the city. There are about 5,000 temples in Vrindavan city. Of course, it is not possible to visit all the temples, but there are at least 1 dozen very big and important temples which were started by the Goswamis and which should be visited. Ninth, one must circumambulate the temple building at least 3 times. In every temple, there is an arrangement to go around the temple at least 3 times. Some devotees go around more than 3 times, 10 times, 15 times, according to their vows. The Goswamis used to circumambulate Govardhan Hill. One should also circumambulate the whole Vrindavan area. Tenth, one must worship the deity in the temple according to the regulative principles, offering arati and prasad, decorating the deity, etc. These things must be observed regularly. 11th, one must render personal service to the deities. 12th, one must sing. 13th, one must perform Sankirtan.
Your must is there, eh? Very interesting. I am just observing that. Must. My lord.
14th, one must chant. 15th, one must offer prayers. 16th, one must recite notable prayers. 17th, one must take Mahaprasad. Food from the very plate offered before the deities.
Not just the prasad with Mahaprasad, but continue, Prabhu.
18th,
Continue your
one must drink Charnamrit, water from the bathing of the deities which is offered to guests. 19th, one must smell the incense and flowers offered to the deity. 20. One must touch the lotus feet of the deity. 21. One must see the deity with great devotion. 22. One must offer arati, aratrika at different times. 23rd. One must hear about the Lord and his pastimes from Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and similar books. 24. One must pray to the deity for his mercy. 25th. One should remember the deity. 26. One should meditate upon the deity.
These are all
27.
mind's 9 items. How to engage mind in Krishna service, that is going on.
27. One should render some voluntary service. 28. One should think of the Lord as one's friend. 29. One should offer everything to the Lord. 30. One should offer a favorite article, such as food or a garment. 31. One should take all kinds of risk and perform all endeavors for Krishna's benefit. 32. In every condition, one should be a surrendered soul. 33rd. One should pour water on the tulsi tree.
Diya seva.
34. One should regularly hear Srimad Bhagavatam and similar literatures. 35th. One should live in a sacred place like Mathura, Vrindavan, or Dwarka. 36. One should offer service to Vaishnavas. 37. One should arrange one's devotional service according to one's means. 38. In the month of Kartik, October and November, one should make arrangements for special services. 39th. During Janmashtami, the time of Krishna's appearance in this world, one should observe a special service. 40. One should do whatever is done with great care and devotion for the deity. 41. One should relish the pleasure of Bhagavatam reading among devotees and not among outsiders. 42. One should associate with devotees who are considered more advanced. 43rd. One should chant the holy name of the Lord. मुझे रिपीट हुआ है 43rd तो
ये 5 है ना, सब रिपीट ही होंगे क्योंकि ये लास्ट जो 5 है ना, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. These are 5 potent forms. So this 5 will be repeated.
44. One should live in the jurisdiction of Mathura. Now, the total regulative principles comes to an aggregate of 64 items. As we have mentioned, the first are the primary 10 regulative principles. Then come the secondary 10 regulative principles, and added to these are 44 other activities. So altogether, there are 64 items for discharging the regulative practice of devotional service. Out of these 64 items, 5 items, namely worshipping the deity, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, associating among the devotees, Sankirtan, and living in Mathura, are very important. The 64 items of devotional service should include all of our activities of body, mind, and speech. As stated in the beginning, the regulative principle of devotional service enjoins that all of our senses must be employed in the service of the Lord. Exactly how they can be thus employed and described in the above 64 items. Now Srila Rupa Goswami will give evidence from different scriptures supporting the authenticity of many of these points.
Yeah, so next 3 chapters, another 3 chapters, no, many, till maybe 3-4 chapters will be explanation of this by substantiating from scripture. So he will elaborate little bit as well as he will substantiate the principles. So these are the 64 principles. 10 do's, 10 don'ts, which are most important, and then there are 44. And those 44 last 5 are most important. Right? So it is actually, in one sense, it is not repeated. When we'll discuss, it will be very clear. So I think next time, I think Prabhuji has told me to ask all of you. Next time, when we'll be meeting next time? Next year or next month? 12th. Yeah. So as we have how much now syllabus? 6th chapter today we have to complete. So we have how many more chapters? 13 chapters more. So we'll meet on 12th now directly. So If in this meantime, if you can read NOD properly, it's very good to study. As much whatever we have discussed, you may study, or the future, whatever it is, you study nicely. It's a very important book to understand the essential aspects of bhakti, because it's a most fundamental book actually. So that's how we will end here today. If anyone has any comment, question, clarification, expression, they can express or whatever. Otherwise, we'll end. Does anyone has any? Yes, sir. ये हटा दो अरे वाह।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी। जो हम पढ़ रहे थे ना डेट वाला पार्ट, तो उसमें कह रहे थे ग्रेटिट्यूड होना चाहिए। तो मेरे को ये समझ आया जो आप कहना चाह रहे थे कि डिवोटी का डेट नहीं होता है, मुझे 5 डेट होते हैं, बट वी शुड बी ग्रेटफुल कि हमको ये सब मिला। आप ये कहना चाह रहे थे?
Yes, like to parents and to
या
that feeling of gratitude.
शुड बी देयर। डिवोटीज को नहीं होता है डेट, जितना स्ट्रांगली प्रैक्टिस कर रहे हो भक्ति उतना डेट नहीं होता है, बट उतनी ज़्यादा ग्रेटफुल होते हैं वो इन लोगों के प्रति। आप ऐसा कुछ मुझे कि वो क्लैरिटी नहीं आया था।
You see, that verse is telling not to be quoted for yourself. In that sense, means as a siddhanta, we should not feel that I should now, as a brahmachari for example, no, I have duty towards my parents, so I should do whatever they say and like that, and I should do that dharma. That siddhanta has to be clear that Krishna is going to take care of them properly. That faith aspect is spoken in this verse. But when it is saying that, it is not that we become ungrateful. That feeling of gratitude is different than having debt. I don't have to go and give up devotional service and go there to repay the debt. But I remain debtor, for they have given me this body by which I am engaged in devotional service. So, is it making sense that the gratitude is for the instrument which they have given? I am just giving one example of parents. Devarshi, Bhuta, Apta, Nranam, Pritrinam, everything. So, there is no need to worship any demigods or other sages and all these things, other scripture. Okay, I have to pay Ron. So, paying debt, that way there is not. But instrument is given, then we become grateful. So, that kind of, that feeling is necessary. This actually, to be very frank, I have heard this. I have not read directly anywhere that like this is there, but it makes a very logical sense of feeling. The devotee remembers that anyone who has helped him in his devotional service, actually, as one progresses in bhakti, he becomes more and more grateful to more and more people, because he receives something. When you become grateful generally, like factually gratitude is when you actually receive something, something receptive, whatever it is, then you become more grateful, right? That whosoever helped me to come till here. So that way, then everyone comes in that, the first person who dragged you. That way, that kind of gratitude I am trying to say. Not, but Siddhanta wise, I don't have to go to repay to, that dharma of putra, now Krishna will take care. That's what Sarvatmanaya Sharanam Sami. Gato Mukandam Paritya Karta. He doesn't have to worry. That's what is the understanding.
See, this point of Shraddha, which you were telling, very important. Ki how means all the things are being applied to a person who has that Shraddha and Bhakti. So that's what, that can you define Shraddha means Shraddha on what? Exactly in these whole terms.
Shraddha is the process, that definition was given, that unflinching.
Is it that Shraddha Shabda Vishwas ke Shudra Nishchay Krishna
That
Bhakti
also,
Kaile?
and the other one I showed from here, he is quoting from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Pure Shraddha means this, unflinching attraction for process in spite of having impure heart and not taking shelter of karma and jnana, something like that. Means basically his prayojan is fixed, and abhideya there is no mixture in spite of having anarthas because of attraction. This is a faith. So that's what is defined by Bhaktivinoda Thakur as pure faith. I can read exactly, I had shown, I think here, yeah, here it is there. And so that is the definition. So, but the strength of it varies. That's what it means, Kanishtha, Madhyama, Uttama. So here I think I have to unflinching attraction for Krishna. Now this Krishna also means like Krishna Anushilanam. People got attracted to Prabhupada, no, earlier. They were not knowing who is Krishna also. But they were respectful, attractive, obedient to Srila Prabhupada. Especially here. This definition kind of. Unflinching attraction to Krishna, in which even the presence of material desires leaves aside karma and jnana and all other paths, it's called pure faith. Shyamnaya Sutra. And of course, Prabhupada gives that, what you said, from Chaitanya Chaitamrita. Prabhupada writes there that unflinching trust on something sublime. After this Bhagavad Gita, so what is that sublime means? You cannot see, but you have to believe. So that is all boils down to words of spiritual master to some extent. Believing on that, whether how it will happen, who. So it all boils down to that actually in one sense. That's what Prabhupada also said, na, that there only he quotes Yasya Prasadat Bhagavat Prasado, I think. I am not sure. Saying that when I read this verse, to make the order of spiritual master as life and soul. Vishwanath Chakravarti's comment. So in a day-to-day life sense, we can take that to extend that faith to faith on the words of spiritual master. So all these things are there. It's a Guru Sadhu Shastra. All faith on them. Whether you understand or not, this is it. This is it. Sublime, something sublime. I cannot understand, but this is true. Let me do it. That is faith. So that is some limited understanding of what I have. You wanted to comment anything about that or? Okay, it's already 1:58. Maybe if someone wants to leave, they can leave. Officially we end. If you are okay, you can continue, no problem. If some devotees have 2 timers and all.
Small query, like what is the difference between mixed devotee and mixed faith? Mixed faith?
Practitioner of mixed faith or one who possesses mixed faith and practices devotional service is a mixed devotee. Because Mishran is in faith.
This mixed faith means is it like worshipping demigods also? That comes in mixed faith.
That is even quite below.
Below, okay. We are talking core even.
Yeah, worshipping Krishna only. Yes. Okay. So they also have faith on Krishna, but not karma that much because Krishna's system is being followed. Karma, jnana. That way. Another mixture is of modes, which is spoken by Kapila. Another mixture. If faith is pure, then the modes will have effect, but one will proceed from them. Yeah, that's what is said here. Yeah, that's what is defined. But other side I told that if a pure devotee is telling anyone to do anything and he does it, that also is a practice of this. We can say like that. But it's not incidental because it's Ati Bhagyana, because Prabhupada went. And so that way makes sense. Because there is strength there, na? It is not just one thing. There is a strength of it. Without that, because that's the qualification. Because that Kenapi Ati Bhagyana, the very beginning of the second, third chapter, so he's telling how pure devotional service. Qualification is coming from as the great devotee. That one of the great devotees is Guru. So that's why Ati Bhagyena Jatu Shaddasya Sevane. He develops faith on serving Krishna.